Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something just a little bit different. I want you to go ahead and take a really deep breath and just let the noise of the city completely fade away. We are embarking on a journey into a space so ancient and so deeply serene, but it honestly demands a kind of quiet reverence. We're stepping into Gülhane Park in Istanbul to look closely at exactly how an empire's most private sanctuary became the soulful garden of a modern city. Picture this sweeping view from above. You're gliding over a vast green oasis, literally 118,000 square meters of just breathing life. It's framed on one side by the imposing, historic walls of an empire, and on the other by the shimmering blue waters of the Bosphorus. Now imagine a slow, gentle descent down through that cool air, where the only movement you see is the slow-motion drift of falling rose petals. Part 1. The Grand Garden Unveiled, the heart of Istanbul. We're descending right into a historic peninsula that's layered with centuries of monumental secrets. Imagine strolling down a serene, sunlit pathway, feeling the ground beneath your feet. This whole area was once known as the Hasbahçe. For centuries, this was it, the absolute, secluded, private paradise of the Ottoman sultans at Topkapi Palace. It was this restricted, deeply mysterious sanctuary where the sultan would go to escape the exhausting weight of state affairs, maybe practice a little archery, and walk quietly among meticulously curated roses. It belonged to just one person. But walking these ancient cobblestone paths today reveals a profound transformation. You see, back in 1912, these dates were finally unlocked. The Sultan's secret garden, which was once this massive symbol of absolute imperial power, was opened up by Dr. Cemil Topuzlu to become a beloved public park. And this wasn't just some basic landscaping change, it was a massive cultural shift. It went from an empire's hidden retreat to a public treasure, a living monument to a changing world. Moving on to part 2. Under the ancient canopy, ancient flora and fauna. We're going to shift our gaze from the grand sweep of history and zoom right in on the vibrant life that's thriving here today. When you picture carefully arranged garden beds resting beneath a towering winter canopy, imagine panning your eyes across the deeply textured bark of massive ancient plane trees, the Platanus hispanica. These silent giants are watching over soil that nurses over 90 exotic plant species. They've been curated here for decades, creating this rich, breathing botanical mosaic right smack in the middle of the city. The sheer volume of life contained within these walls is absolutely astounding. I mean, every single April, an incredible 2.5 million tulips burst into bloom. It creates this carpet of vibrant colors that completely blankets the park. And if you look up high into the canopy of those ancient plane trees, you'll actually find a real breeding colony of majestic gray herons. They're nesting quietly right above the bustling metropolis. And among the most surprising residents in this ancient Ottoman garden are the vibrant Kramer's ringneck parakeets. So how did they get here? Well, the story goes that in 1996, a truck carrying hundreds of these birds actually overturned in an accident. The parrots escaped, flew into the city's green spaces, and against all odds, successfully adapted. Now their emerald feathers are a permanent, colorful fixture in the park's canopy. It's a pretty amazing happy accident. All right, part 3. The rhythm of seasons, echoes of time. We're actually going to travel through the centuries now to see exactly how this space transforms over time. Watch how monumental history perfectly aligns with the natural rhythm of a single day here. Back in the morning mist of 1839, the Tanzimat Edict was read to the public. Fast forward to the bright midday sun of 1912, when those gates finally opened to all citizens. Then, in the golden hour of the 1950s, the park hosted incredibly lively spring and flower festivals. And finally, in today's gentle twilight, it serves as a quiet sanctuary for families picnicking under the trees. It is honestly awe-inspiring to realize that the very leaves rustling above you today are the direct descendants of the trees that witnessed that 1839 reading of the Tanzimat Edict. That was the exact moment, the very spark that kicked off the modernization of the entire Ottoman Empire, and it echoed right through this very grove. That brings us to part 4. Life among the ruins, modern joy, ancient stone. Let's shift our narrative to the modern human element and the silent, ancient architectural stones that watch over them. Today, Gulhane is just beautifully alive. Imagine a montage of children playfully chasing pigeons and couples sharing quiet little moments on shaded benches. You can sit at the Setüstü Çay Bahçesi, sipping traditional Turkish tea, with majestic, distant views of Topkapi Palace peeking through the canopy. It's this absolutely perfect blend of ordinary, everyday peace, juxtaposed right against the heavy backdrop of an empire's history. And nestled right within all this everyday life is something genuinely extraordinary: the Column of the Goths. It is a single, towering Roman marble monument dating back to the 3rd century CE. In fact, it's the oldest surviving monument in all of Istanbul. Crazy, right? Originally erected to commemorate a victory over the Goths, it now just stands there, silently, peacefully swallowed up by the surrounding nature. But with all this grand history above ground, we really have to pause for a second and ask, what lies beneath these ancient trees? Take a second. What on earth could be hiding right under the very pathways where children are playing today? The answer is the hidden Byzantine cistern. While millions of people line up to visit the famous Basilica cistern, Gulhane actually hides its very own quiet, uncrowded underground reservoir. Dating all the way back to the Byzantine era, it features these long rows of stone columns reflecting so softly in dark, cool waters. The moody, serene atmosphere down here is a breathtaking contrast to the lively, sunlit park just a few feet above your head. Finally, part 5, a peaceful path forward, exhaling with the park as the evening dusk starts to approach. Let's take one final step back and imagine looking down a serene, tree-lined path. The crowds have thinned out, the shadows are growing longer, and the sun is just beginning to set over the shimmering Bosphorus in the distance. It feels like the entire park is just exhaling. Come, sit, listen, Gulhane still whispers. The next time you find yourself totally surrounded by the overwhelming rush of the modern world, remember the timeless peace of this garden. What will you hear when you finally stop to listen? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today.